All right. Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday night, and welcome to another Chit Chat and Chill. I am here, myself, Shantae, with our other panelists, Shayla and Peter. We have some really good conversations that we're going to have tonight. Some interesting topics around the drone strike that happened in Afghanistan, just a follow up to what we've been talking about the past few weeks. And then we're also going to talk about the mandatory vaccinations that are happening from the federal government around requiring private companies and federal companies, and we've seen it with teachers and unions and folks starting to require vaccinations. We're going to talk about that, and then we're also going to talk about the Texas abortion law. So good stuff. We're excited for these conversations. We're definitely probably going to argue a little bit, have different points of view, so should be interesting. But just to start off, I do want to, I don't know, just we don't have to have a moment of silence for the 20-year anniversary of 9/11, but we did make a post, never forget. This weekend was very emotional. I know for me, I can never not watch that footage of that morning. It's just always so humbling. 3,000 people, died within like an hour and a half. It's just insane.
Real fast on that. Do you guys remember where you guys were and stuff?
Yeah.
I was in school.
Yeah,
Were
we were
you?
in school. They were talking about our school is in downtown Chicago, our high school, and they were talking about closing it because they didn't know what the other targets were. The Sears
Mhm.
Tower is like really close, and yeah, so that
Well,
was
I'll never forget the day it was happening. They actually told us we couldn't leave. And then they were saying if we did leave, it would be consequences. And I'll never forget my mom, because she worked downtown. She was like, get out of the classroom now. You're walking out. I don't care. And I was just like,
okay.
oh.
Mom or high school principal?
I'm like, yeah, I gotta go home with her. I'm about to.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And I'll never forget because we had a TV in the hallway and you saw, like, I saw it, but I thought, because sometimes they played movies, I thought it was a movie. I didn't think it was real.
Yeah, I didn't think it was real. It was very like eerie because all I saw when I walked into my computer class was the video being played on a computer, and it just looked so fake. It did not look like it was like
Yeah.
a movie. Or were you?
Where were you, Peter?
So I was driving to Mikey Shop in Joliet, and I was listening to Man Cow, and he was on. Well, so he was on, but everybody else was leaving. He was the only person that stayed. So he's actually telling everybody what was going on.
Yeah.
And they're like, you got to leave, you got to leave. And he wouldn't leave. And he was telling everybody kind of what was going on. So I was listening to it till I got to Mikey's shop. And then we were just watching everything from there. It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What always gets me is the footage of the people falling. Like I just can't. It's like I can't now. I torture myself watching it, and every time I'm like, I just can't even imagine.
There was a really cool post, and I'll send it to you. But it was about the main picture called
Falling Man.
Yeah, did you read that? You guys
they
read
actually had I want to say on Netflix they have something with the 9/11, and they did a whole thing about the fallen man and the reporter, because he got a lot of backlash from the picture.
Oh, I'm sure people didn't want to I think back then there was just a lot of denial. I remember years where they weren't even re-showing the footage of people following. It took years for me to finally see it. Maybe 5 years. I don't know if you guys saw it before that, but I remember seeing it live and then waiting for them to re-show it, and they just didn't re-show
because they
it.
pulled it. They didn't. Right. They pulled it.
Right. So I just don't think people wanted to see that or understand that happened. It's too.
It was. Some people were commenting that was insensitive and inhumane, especially to the people's family, and people were trying to figure out who this person was. It was a lot of.
And I think he's still anonymous, right? People still
don't really know who he is.
They know who he was.
Yeah, they did. They know who he is.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
I didn't think that had happened, but
I thought it was still anonymous.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into graphic details, but yeah, I can tell you offline how they figured that out. But they know who he is.
Okay.
But okay, so RIP to the almost 3,000 people who passed away at 9/11, United States, and unfortunately, that war that started the Iraq war, and then we end up with this situation right now that we're dealing with in Afghanistan, where I feel like there's a lot of like cover up happening, a lot of diversion happening, but no one's really talking about what's happening like lately, where we had this drone strike. And Peter, I know you brought this up, so I didn't know if you wanted to like go into what was going on with that drone strike recently and like how it happened and how
Well,
there's not a whole lot of media coverage on it or even like a follow-up investigation happening.
so as soon as they botched the whole getting out, everything about it was, all the press was bad. It's bad when CNN is even calling out Biden. So it's really bad. And then so what they needed to do is, and then all of a sudden the 13 Americans, servicemen and women, got killed by the terrorist attacks over there by the airports or whatnot. So right away they say, oh well, we did two drone strikes and we killed the people behind it, but they wouldn't release any names. And everybody's like, release the names. They refused to release the names. Well, everything finally came out. They didn't kill. He was the guy that the main person they went after was an ally, and he killed 10 civilians.
And
So
it's children, right?
Yeah, men, women, and children. So and nobody's been held accountable. How do you hold nobody accountable? So the timing of everything they do, I don't trust any politicians on their timing, but this is everything they're doing now is to try to, because the press was so bad and all of their poll numbers plummeted. So we're going to strike. Well, then you do two drone strikes, refuses, let the names go. And then when all that comes out, nobody's held accountable. How is not one person held accountable for any of that? Where's the person that held accountable that said, yeah, this is a legitimate hit, go ahead and send the attack? How do we not know who okayed that attack? You're muted, Chantal.
I don't hear you.
You're muted.
I said, we don't know what's going on. There's like been one investigation done, and then they said that they were calling for additional investigations, but they can't get people on the ground there to continue the investigation, which is BS.
Yeah.
It just is just such a F up. I mean, at this, like, I'm so confused how there's no outrage around, first of all, the whole withdrawal, and then now this. It's just being swept under the rug. I don't understand it.
The outrage is all they're playing the American people very well. Instead of having the outrage about Afghanistan, they're switching and pitting Americans against each other with the whole vaccine thing. So they're doing it very well, and we're foolishly allowing it to happen, where nobody's going to be held accountable for any actions. How do you not hold anybody accountable for the death of 13 servicemen and women?
Right.
And then the drone strikes are just killing civilians. How is nobody held accountable? And they're saying we're not going to hold anybody accountable.
Yep. It's unreal.
It's not anything new, though. I mean, I'm sorry. It's not anything new at all. I feel like the best way to find out what's happening in the U.S. or what we did is to look at international news stations, because we'll never know here. They'll never show us. They'll never tell what happened. We'll never know. Like BBC, looking at the Associated Press, stuff like that. Like, that's your best way to find out what we're doing, because we don't know.
That's true.
We don't know.
They don't want us to know, too.
Like, because we have the savior complex as a nation. Like, and we can't. It's like we come in and we save the day. We save people from themselves. We save countries from themselves, and we ain't even doing well ourselves. We can't even save ourselves right now. Yeah. We got so much stuff backwards, and we always talking about we're doing all these different things when, yeah.
You sound like Trump right now.
No, I'm just saying shut up. The reason why I say that is because like you even see documentaries about how many soldiers were killed friendly fire when they were identified as threats, and it was another tank in the same army, and that stuff nobody gets held accountable for those things. It's never talked about again.
So when you're talking about that, those do get held accountable on the smaller scale. The larger scale, you're talking about the top generals. Those are the ones that have not been held accountable.
But what do you mean on a smaller scale?
So the people under them, the colonels and lieutenant colonels, the sergeants and the lieutenants, they do get held accountable.
In what way?
They're let go. You don't hear about them because they're such a smaller impact. The reason why I'm upset about the Afghan thing is because the people under when you look at that structure, they had no control of any of that. That was all those decisions were made at the top. So anybody held accountable needs to be the people at the top. But you look at Milley, and he's more concerned about focusing on white rage than he is the 13th, service members. He's in talking in Congress about white rage is such a problem that we have. He's watching this, and while 13 men and women get killed.
Yeah.
So,
explain a little bit what the white rage stuff is.
So he was in Congress a couple months ago where they were talking. He was I don't remember who was questioning him, but he was saying that they were talking about critical race theory and things like that they were teaching in the military, and he was saying that white rage is such an issue in America. And he was one of the biggest threats that we have is white nationalism, which we all know just isn't true. And then while he's focused, they're insignificant. They're insignificant. They have no real power. They're the only reason why they have any real play is every time there's a counter protest. Otherwise, nobody ever cared about them. Nobody shows up to their stuff. They're insignificant. They are.
Looking away.
They're not even important.
Okay. So aside from that, you were making a point.
Make your point.
She sidetracked me. You sidetracked me.
Point.
No, but so that's what he was focusing on. He was focusing on that instead of the withdrawal in Afghanistan. Why the hell is that a focus when we've got a withdrawal that you're supposed to be planning and making sure everybody's secure? But that's what your focus is. It's just half backwards.
There's a comment. Where's the proof it's not true? And I don't remember what this is.
But what are we talking about specifically?
It might. I feel like there was something you guys said that Shayla said about how do you know it's not true? But shoot, I was hoping you guys would remember. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what you said though. It might have been I lost it. Sorry.
I can't help you. I'm like,
It's okay. If you don't remember, it's okay.
Little help from the comment section, please.
and you just look at like how we left them with so much firepower.
Yeah. It's a little chilling to think about that. I know we talked about that. We literally left them with billions of dollars worth of weapons. Oh, he said white rage.
Oh, I thought we did. Well, no, that's the planes. I was about to say, I thought we disabled.
No.
We did.
But
we did. But like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Huh?
We did, but what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Because they're still there.
So, okay. So the issue was, I saw an article where Taliban were saying that they felt deceived or something because we said we were going to leave all these planes and then they disabled them all.
We should have
taken all that
stuff with
them. They don't know how to fix them. So they feel deceived.
So what does that tell you about the deal that we struck?
With this, what's it called?
What do you mean? What are you trying to say, Peter? I'm sorry. Because
what does that say that we struck a deal with the Taliban to leave these weapons? That's what they're saying. We struck a deal. We're going to leave you armed.
I don't think we struck a deal. We're going to leave the Taliban armed.
Wait a minute. That's what Shayla just said.
The Afghanistan army armed.
They come on now. They were gone. They lost it within a day. They had no.
I know, but I'm not saying that. What are you talking about? What are you getting at?
Shayla just said that she read an article where the Taliban felt deceived.
I can't quote what the article was, by the way. I can't quote what the source was.
I remember seeing that too, though. That they felt deceived, the stuff was disabled, blah, blah, blah. But I thought that was just them saying that they expected to find working equipment because we left it for the Afghanistan army to protect themselves.
Come on. The Afghan army didn't even know we left. They woke up in the morning, came to the base, and we were gone.
It was just a mess. Let's just agree it was a mess. We already talked about it a good amount last week for like.
It was just like uncomfortable laugh.
It was a mess. This drone strike was a mess.
Yeah.
And it's not getting enough press. I think we all agree. And then we had talked about how, Peter, you had touched on how you feel like they're pushing the COVID and the mandatory vaccines and all this other stuff to kind of cover up what's actually happening in Afghanistan and to not have any accountability. Do we want to talk about the mandatory vaccinations a little bit with COVID and how that's like?
Before we do that, I don't know if you guys saw it, but did you guys see the CDC has changed their definition of a vaccine 3 times in the past 4 months?
I did not notice.
They have.
But please share. In what way?
So I posted it. I'll pull it up right now. But so they've what the vaccine is now does not fit in the definition of what the vaccine was 3 months ago. So they've had to adjust it because it's not a fucking vaccine. It's airborne. That's what it is. You're taking airborne to fight for flu. It's a freaking therapeutic. So they know it.
Opinion.
No, per the CDC's own definition, it's not a vaccine.
What
That's
are
why they had.
the vaccine now? I saw that they renamed it. I don't remember what they.
No, they've had every time they realize the efficacy of the vaccine isn't really doing what it's supposed to do, and it doesn't prevent you from getting it, doesn't prevent you from spreading it. They change the definition of the vaccine every time they. Yes, it's happened.
Vaccine used to equal fight against disease, and now it's prevent you from getting hospitalized for disease. something very vague like that. It's not a fucking vaccine per their own terminology. So that's that. So we can talk about
something unique to COVID anyway, though. The flu been doing that for years.
No, the flu hasn't. That's why it's not a flu vaccine. It's a flu shot. No. They don't call it a flu vaccine. They call it a flu shot. They don't call it a vaccine. They haven't called it. They haven't called it. They have not called. It's been a flu shot for years. I'm telling you, years.
Yes, I don't know that I've ever heard it.
So they don't say, "Are you going to get your vaccination today?" They never say that.
No, you are getting your flu
I've
shot.
heard that too, though. I've heard flu vaccination, but they don't call it a vaccine.
They call it from somebody that's worked in that industry for a long time. It's the flu shot. That's it.
I know. I'm not saying it's never called a flu shot, but
doesn't matter.
It's been a flu shot.
So they're changing what a vaccine is, in your opinion, which is stupid.
Per CDC, it's not my opinion. Per the CDC.
Per the CDC, a vaccine is now something that will prevent you from being hospitalized for being sick.
But did you die?
You got a 99%. It's over 99% survival rate anyway.
As we move into this topic, let's introduce it a little bit. So we have a COVID vaccine. We were told before the vaccine went live, or whatever you want to call it, that it was going to be 90-something% effective against COVID. I feel like it was very generic at first. Then they were saying it's not going to prevent you from getting COVID. It's just going to prevent you from getting really sick from COVID,
and preventing
that's the case,
and preventing you from transmitting it.
They weren't sure about the preventing you from transmitting it, but they did say they did studies, and that again, this is all happening within a year, all in parallel, all at the same time. But they did say that their hope or their thought was that vaccinated people would then not spread the vaccine, so we could stop wearing masks and all that stuff. But again, we're like building this plane as we're flying it. So it's just like changing constantly. I don't disagree with you there. But so now we're in a place where you can get the vaccine and it's supposed to prevent you from getting really sick if you get it again. But we do spread it, I guess. So now we're back to masking again. And also some people who are vaccinated who get COVID are still dying. Some people, but also it's less effective, right? Pfizer is now only in the 80s from an effective perspective.
After more time passes, so that's why the booster shot.
And now booster, and then Moderna's more effective, and then Johnson Johnson's still in the 60s or whatever. So that's where we're at right now from a vaccination perspective. And now that the Pfizer one is FDA approved, companies are starting to feel good about requiring vaccinations. And I don't know, there's people who are upset about this. So,
especially on something like it's a 99 over 99% survival rate, and so you're forcing people to get something that they don't want or they don't need. If you look at the immunity, if with the people that have gotten it and the vaccine, and we're at 86%, I believe, natural immunity. In order to be out of a pandemic, it's 86. If you take a look at the amount of 86 to the amount of people that have gotten the shot plus what's going on, Santino? It's at 86%. I believe they wanted to say natural immunity was done at 70% of the population. We're already well past that.
I didn't look that up. I didn't confirm. Like, can you confirm that with a source? Because I didn't.
Per the CDC. This is all, most of the stuff I say is per the CDC. They just constantly change it to fit a narrative.
Okay.
That's all. So the forcing a company to do it when your messaging has been so poor and the people aren't trusting anything that you're saying or doing. So now you're forcing people to do it.
What do you mean forcing a company to do it?
They're telling that's exactly what they're doing. You're telling a company, if you have over 100 people, they must be vaccinated.
The mandates. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, gotcha.
So according to the data, it's like as of September 12th, 54.4% of the population is fully vaxxed. 63.8% is at least one dose.
And that's not including the people that have already gotten it. That's what brings up that the immunity piece. Right. When you include the people that have not gotten vaccinated but have gotten COVID, that number shoots up to about 86%.
And this is the U.S. you're talking about, Tino?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, U.S.
Trying to understand the number.
So if you, so there's no point. So now they're forcing people to do it, which doesn't make any sense. If you have the amount of people that have already have the immunity, some kind of immunity, why you're forcing this vaccine? And then when you continuously doing studies on something because you don't have all the answers because everything is changing, and I understand it's a short time frame, that's one reason to be more cautious when you're running studies on the effects of kids and especially young boys and heart issues that they're having, and in women with all the issues that they're having. Why are you forcing this? There's no reason. It's a complete overreach, and they know it's an overreach.
Do they? I don't know that people know it's an overreach. I'm on social media sites where I see clusters of people who feel like people who are unvaccinated are attacking them. It's like a mindset where
it's by design.
What's the problem? Why can't you just do it? And it's just this, I don't know. It's like a mindset of like people not being able to put themselves in another person's shoes. There's a lot of reasons to not get vaccinated right now. Like pregnant people, there's still no like proof of the effects of it on different groups of people. Older people, obviously, people who have underlying conditions, pregnant people, people who are breastfeeding, people are trying to get pregnant. There's like all these things that if you're doing it, it can impact you. And a doctor can say, yeah, I think it's probably okay, but no one really knows yet.
Yeah.
So people aren't putting themselves in other people's shoes. And they're just like, what's the problem? Get vaccinated. And they're just so loud and ridiculous that I feel like the unvaccinated people are feeling a certain type of way.
I didn't even say that they're loud; they're amplified.
They are amplified. Yeah,
it's different.
Projected.
I'm sorry to sound like I'm repeat. That's nothing to do either. Like before COVID came out, people who were anti-vaccines, anti-vaxxers, they were treated, it wasn't as many in numbers, but it's been the same argument about putting things in people's bodies. Some people went the religion route. Some people found loopholes, but it's been a fight. I know at least probably with schools to say that.
The big number to probably look at would be what percentage of the population were like anti-vaxxers prior to COVID.
I didn't think a lot of people, but I do know that
yeah, they definitely were, but I don't only see traditionally anti-vaxxers.
That's what I'm saying. They've grown in numbers.
I don't only see them anymore.
Yeah,
it's beyond that. And people, I mean, even like me, where I'm all in on I have all my vaccines. I've never had an issue with vaccines. And I have this vaccine, right? But I still raise an eyebrow at some of it, it did get to the market very fast.
Mm-hmm.
The measures that the government is trying to take now is extremely concerning. And it just, it does make you think, especially when you take everything that we've seen in the last 8 to 12 years or so, right? Everything with the media and it just forces you to be there has to be what else is there? There has to be something else.
What are they leading us to, basically?
What's the ulterior motive? You know what I mean?
It's the lack of trust.
Why is it we get 2 asteroid movies in the same year in 1998? Everything just always seems to be very synced up with stuff,
So you brought up a point about them being amplified. The reason why they're amplified is because anybody that speaks out against it gets banned off social media. So if there's anybody that has, even if they're there's a guy, Alex Bergenson, all he did was post data. He asked one simple question, banned from Twitter. Doctors questioning it, banned. So the reason why they're amplified is because if you speak out against it, you're banned.
I've seen people getting posts that they shared directly from the CDC website being fact checked, by Facebook and warning about misinformation. It's it's from the CDC.gov, yo.
But so that's why they're more amplified. And the whole trust thing, I've said it from day one. It's all about control. They're going to see how much control they can get. And what they try to do, and they've achieved it, was separate. And they wanted one group to be pro-vaccine, which means pro taking away other people's rights for this whole fear and this public good, even though it had virtually zero effect. When you talk about the mortality rate is damn near none. If that was the case, you see more people are dying from, on average, more people die from doctors' mistakes. That's one of the reasons why the cost of going to the hospital is high is because the medical insurance is so high because doctors make so many mistakes, which is fine. They're like everybody else. They're going to make mistakes. But now we're said to trust all doctors. Normally you don't. You get a second opinion. But now you're not allowed to get a second opinion because it goes against the narrative. And they have more control. And everything they've been doing from the first mask mandate was all about control.
I don't know, man. I feel like
sometimes it seems like it, especially when it's stuff just, it's so arbitrary sometimes.
And then when you see them doing exact opposite, when the people in control doing the exact opposite, every time you see them with masks, look for the photo before and after, because I guarantee it, they don't have a mask on. None of them do. It's all for show.
So I kind of relate COVID, hang in with me here. I kind of relate COVID and everything that came with COVID to bed bugs. Because in my lifetime, I never experienced it. And it's something that, although it exists, it seems so far away, like a tall tale. Don't let the bed bugs bite. And when they hit so hard. And I feel like people panicked. And there were all these experts coming out with all these things when really nobody knew what they were doing. Yeah. But nobody can say that. Everybody has to be an expert in some way. And they can't ever say that they were wrong, especially when people were picking things when certain positions, they won't ever say that they were wrong about something. They won't ever say that they made an error because you lose the crowd in creating and confirming that doubt. So I feel like a lot of that is repeating in the sense of it's something where we never dealt, well, not never, but we haven't dealt with the pandemic in a long time. And even though there have been some in our lifetime, I feel like a ball was dropped in a big way. Like there wasn't enough research. It wasn't enough preparations. It wasn't enough information. But who's going to come out and say that?
Well, that's why I never trusted Fauci in the beginning. It's all his fault. 100% his fault.
Just him.
It is.
I mean,
the funding.
The
funding. He gave the funding to Wuhan to do this. This is all his fault.
Yeah.
It all falls on his feet. He's the one that authorized that funding for all of this to happen, and he's the one been lying to everybody. Remember when all of his emails are public record. When they did all his email dump, he admitted he was sitting there full of shit. Everything he was saying was a lie. And he covered his tracks and said, well, I did it because I didn't think the American people were ready. And I did it because of this. He always had a reason. Like you said, no accountability. He can never admit he was wrong.
Yep.
But it's all his fault.
Yep.
Well, that's simplified.
And you know, the thing is that the left went so they went so hard for this dude, against Trump, that they can no longer, the left themselves can no longer question his credibility, because it would look terrible upon them if they did. Everybody, I'm sorry, but everybody, left and right, you have, everybody sees this. Everybody knows how ridiculous it is with this guy, and why is he, forget just on pure numbers alone, 600,000 Americans dead, and you're running the show on this. Why does he still have a job? Period. Why does he still have a job?
That's an excellent.
Because if you look at it, regardless of politics, he fucked up. Just I said pure numbers, right? If you believe those numbers. But how does he still have a job? It's because the right is pushing so hard to hold him accountable, and the left went to shill so hard for this dude because of Trump, they back themselves into a corner. This dude is making the left look foolish, and they're just sitting there and being like, oh, you got to trust this guy. Don't question anything he says. But it's they don't. Clearly they don't. Look at Obama's party. They ain't listening to this homie.
That's so messed up. I just can't even with that whole situation. We talked a little bit about that before too, but oh my gosh. Just getting back to the government though, requiring the vaccinations. How do you guys think this is going to play out? Do you think there's going to be a lot of people who just quit?
I mean, the lawsuits are already ready to go. I mean, you got all these conservative orgs, you got all these governors already saying yo, go ahead and sign the order, Joe. Go and sign the order, Joe. All I gotta hit send on this email. It's done.
Two parts to that. One is I think a lot of companies are going to wait because they know a lot of companies are short on people right now anyway. They don't even have the staffing.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they choose to go that route, they're going to have to end up letting a whole bunch of people go. Now they're really going to be screwed. So they're going to be more hesitant, be like, I don't want to do this. So,
but it's happening. It's
happening in some.
They'll just downsize the 99 workers.
It's happening in some, but it's not happening everywhere. I'm just saying there's some companies that will.
Big companies though.
I don't think it's going to be as many as you would think, because prior to the mandate, I know companies have been making it more difficult if you haven't had the vaccine, to where people are just going to get it.
So that should tell you something right away.
But no, I'm just saying, people
but
who were on the fence are actually getting it.
The people that are, I think I've been saying a while. I think about at least 30% of the people that got the vaccine got it for two reasons. One is they felt they had no choice for work, or they thought, I don't have to wear a mask anymore. I can go live my life. That's the reason why they got it. Had no reason. They knew there's no benefit to them. They just felt they didn't have a choice. The other thing, do you saw what OSHA did a couple months ago? OSHA. So right now, originally, if you're forced,
who is OSHA? Explain.
OSHA. Everybody knows OSHA.
No, everybody does not know who OSHA is.
OSHA, Google it.
Yes. So originally, if a company forced you to do something, get a medicine or vaccine, if there was any side effects, the company was then liable. Guess what OSHA scrapped?
Guess what? What'd you say?
OSHA scrapped that. The companies are no longer liable, even though they're forcing you to get it. Guess who gave that directive? Who's the one? Biden, because remember, in order for this mandate to go through, it has to go through OSHA. That's why Biden's saying, I'm going to go to OSHA. He's already went to OSHA once and said, scrap this, companies are no longer liable. And that's why a company can say, yeah, go get it, because in 5 years, when all this shit is coming out, where all of a sudden you got an extra leg growing, the company is no longer liable. They have zero liabilities over forcing you to get an X, which at the time was not even a fully vetted vaccine. It's still not fully vetted.
Even the vaccine companies can't be held liable or something like that. I thought there was some sort of legislation.
They have all these protections.
Yeah, I read something about that.
What's the plain devil's advocate? If so many people sue for so many different things. If you're actually trying to come up with a vaccine, that would delay it in such a way where people would try to make it. Like, you really wouldn't get
a resolution. That's the point.
I agree. Then why make it mandatory?
But not even just that. Like, you got to keep in mind, in certain positions, once a vaccine is put out there and it's FDA approved, in certain positions, to not take the vaccine would be so much of a liability issue. Like, potentially, like, let's just think about the narrative. Like, let's just say certain positions, like we were talking about, where it's mandatory to have them. Usually it's because of the type of work that you do. Not all the time, but usually. And the liability that comes with that. Like, if they come with a vaccine that's FDA approved, at what point does it become negligent for you not to have it?
So a serious question. I don't know the answer to this. And you're talking about some of those. Do those companies routinely ask for your vaccine shots before COVID?
Some of them.
I don't know the answer.
It depends on your industry.
Yeah, some of.
No.
If you're in education, you got to show some stuff.
So
probably healthcare.
I don't know. I'm just curious. So so I would agree to a certain extent with what you're saying, Shayla, depending on if they did prior to this.
That's what I'm saying. Like, some places, this is not anything that's new.
Right.
Like, this stuff happening.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. And I think that's where some of it's coming from for some people. But then for others, it's like, well, I've never been required to show this before. You have no idea what that is in my life. Where is this coming from? And on top of that, I work remotely from home. Why do I need a vaccine? And how dare you try to require me to get it? It just doesn't make sense. So I think those people will start quitting if these companies make a decision to require it. And then, well, it's already now, you have to get tested. How are you going to know if people get tested weekly? Like, how do you manage that?
Oh, you have to turn in your results.
How are companies going to manage that? No one has that full-time person who's going to be like, hey, Shayla, did you get tested this week? I see you're not vaccinated. Like,
oh no, they are assigned like at job, like they're assigning people to do that. Yes.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, how do you prove it? And if that becomes a full-time job where, this company has 10,000 employees.
And it's not a full-time job. They're tacking it on to some poor person's other duties.
That's what I'm saying. How do you manage that? That person's not going to do it well. And on top of that, people are just going to start quitting.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened.
Am I vaccinated or did I get tested? I'm just going to quit. And then all the people who are irritated with this requirement that they never had before, like you said, I think people who've always had the requirement will just have to kind of do it, but the people who've never had the requirement before, who dig in their heels, are going to start quitting and create.
They're not going to quit. They're going to fire you.
They're going to get fired. They're going to create a bigger issue for these companies that are already struggling to hire.
There's a hospital. There's a hospital in New York, Lewis County General Hospital, Lowville, New York. They had to cancel They had to stop delivering babies after September 24th because too many of their maternity unit workers have resigned over vaccinations.
What? When? September 24th? Wait, what?
So they have stopped
August
the
24th?
hospital. The hospital will stop delivering babies after September 24th.
Wow.
Because too many maternity unit workers have resigned over COVID vaccination mandates.
Boom. That's just going to start happening. And I've already seen the flood.
They're going to go out to free states.
Social media, people are going and they're finding the companies that don't have these mandates, and they're working there, or they're starting their own things.
But I think that's why the executive order is trying to come down, so there'll be nowhere for them to go. So they have to, because you got to think, if people are quitting jobs because they have somewhere else to go. If you make it where they have nowhere else to go,
but that's fucked up.
That's tyranny.
I'm just saying.
That's caused.
I'm not saying
that creates desperation, and what does desperation cause? I'm just saying,
people are already quitting their jobs because they're unhappy, work-life balance.
Because I think COVID and we had this conversation, COVID brought a lot of things to the forefront as far as people's priorities and what really matters in the grand scheme of things. Like, it was more in your face.
Yeah. Sorry, since you were going to
have that work-life balance.
I know I jumped in late. I'm not sure if you guys talked about this, but what would happen if this mandate was by Trump? No.
Listen,
we already know. We already know what was that.
Real question. Like, the same people are up in arms because these are the Trump vaccines. These are the Trump vaccines. These were 100% developed under the Trump presidency. How do you think people would feel like if this was Trump saying?
We already know. We know politicians were against it. We know everyone was against it. We knew that this was coming and where people would start fighting it. And so,
oh my God, dude. I mean, the Nazi comparisons.
It was just it would have been the opposite.
They're probably be right.
I was going to say, I think it would be the same arguments, just different. The different people.
It'd be in reverse.
Yeah,
but I don't think it would have been a strong arm. You wouldn't have been strong armed to get it. You would have been forced to get it.
What? What?
No. What?
Did you say you would have been forced, or you
would not? You would not. There would have been no mandates to get it. It would have been like, hey, get it.
It would have fallen to the states.
Like, yes, where it's supposed to be.
Trump would have let New York and Illinois and California dig their own graves on that one.
Yeah. Well, we don't know because he's not in office anymore.
But did you see about all the stuff in Arizona and Pennsylvania came out?
About the
more of the election squad?
Have they announced more stuff? I haven't had a chance to catch up with news today.
I mean, I think we know that there was election fraud in Arizona, and where did you say?
Pennsylvania came out too. Those were Georgia.
And
thousands of votes that were actual fraud and would have turned the election. I feel like we could do this with every election. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like this was the same.
Okay, that's why voter ID.
I literally.
All I gotta ask is where are those 81 million people?
You don't see any of them.
They need to come get their boy. I'm just saying, the most. Just remember that, guys. Just remember that.
We
see now, old fart.
I was about to say, I think you forget
the most votes of any president ever elected, and this includes Obama. Like, no way. I voted for Obama. Come on, no way.
Everyone voted for Obama.
I didn't.
I did.
A lot of people. I think his point is a lot of MF and people voted for Obama, and somehow Joe Biden got more. We get it. Okay. Anyway. So anything else on requiring vaccines? What do you guys think is going to happen in the workplace? I mean, I've seen it.
I think we're gonna as soon as that order is signed, we're gonna see an immediate injunction on the federal level, and this is gonna go. This is gonna 100% go to the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
there's no way this doesn't go to the Supreme Court, and it'll be unenforceable until it does.
So, and the article about the U.S. Postal Service workers not being mandated, it looks like it was a miscommunication from the White House. So they updated their
bullshit.
article.
Bullshit.
But yeah, 600,000 U.S. Postal Service workers were apparently exempt from the mandate as of a few days ago, and now they're saying, "Oh no, they're not exempt. No one is exempt." But if you ask the post office, they're saying, "No, we don't have to do nothing." So it's just a mess. It makes no sense. Like how? Why? No logic. Just let's everyone accept them. Who paid you? That's all I had. As soon as I saw that article, I was like, who paid who? Because this makes no sense. Just one group of people who touch all of our mail and deliver, literally physically come into contact with something where they could transmit COVID to people.
And I still don't think they should get vaccinated unless they want to.
Well, right, but it just makes no sense. It was like,
especially because it's therapeutic.
If it's all in, it's all in. You can't just have random exemptions for government workers as you please, due to lobbying and corruption and everything else. Again, just leading to this mistrust of just like what is.
I just want to run way back when I was on the Feel the Burn train and just wonder what a world could have been if he would have done that.
I know. Before we understood stuff.
Like about
the world.
I'm it's the worst.
So just quick question. What do we think the biggest group of unvaccinated people are?
I think it's like minority. Is it minority men?
Yeah. Which minority?
Is it black folk? Why are you saying it like that?
Because they push. I think it's smart because they push two narratives. They push the narrative that it is Trump Republicans are the biggest group that are not getting it when it's not, and they can't go after black people for the simple fact that they'd be called racist if they do. So if they really wanted to shore up the rest of those vaccines, that's the group that they would be going after. I don't think they should be going after any group. Nobody wants to get the damn therapeutic. Nobody should get the damn therapeutic. Take some airborne, you'll be all right.
Yeah,
I don't see.
Yeah, I mean, there's been an issue with minorities.
I think it's 36%
vaccinated. That's black and Hispanics both.
Well, there's a history. We talked about it, and I've even heard people hollering, like just going in stores, like, "Oh, they're putting a microchip." Like, you carrying a cell phone. Nobody needs.
Hey, all I gotta say is I can't wait to see the cell phone videos of black families being not allowed into restaurants and stores and stuff, like in New York with these vax passports. I can't wait till the cell phone videos of this stuff come out, because I want to see the outrage that I know is not going to happen.
And the same people that
I don't think you're gonna get it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think people are just whatever.
Hey, wait, like I said, the Dems after 70 years, the Dems are finally getting their segregation back. We got black and brown folks demanding safe spaces for their own races away from white people. We got these young people demanding this, like
they're not. Well, I'm not even gonna get
they are demanding.
I will not or take the
they got our kids, guys. Our kids. They got our younger generation doing this. Like, give me that segregation.
Stop. Okay. Those are our final thoughts on requiring vaccinations. I'm not going to get segregation.
You want to comment, Chante. Nope. You do.
I do not. It's not the same to me. That's all I'm going to say. In my opinion, it's not the same to me. Okay. So the next topic is abortion. This law, the law that was passed in Texas, I think it was effective on September 1st. And it was a law that basically prohibits women from getting an abortion after 6 weeks, after they've been pregnant for 6 weeks. And it doesn't make any exceptions for rape or incest, but it does make an exception for an emergency situation, I think, where the mom would die unless they got the abortion. I think that's the only exception. So, yeah. What do you guys think?
What's the problem?
We have men and women on this call, and our men are conservative and lean right, and the women are more liberal and probably just would lean left on this topic in general. So I feel like you could probably predict where this conversation is going to go.
I don't have an official opinion on this. The truth. I
An
don't.
official opinion.
Well, like mine, I don't have an opinion on this. Like,
what if this
honestly.
happened in Illinois? You wouldn't have an opinion. You just don't care.
No, I
It's
don't
not
know.
something that
I mean,
impacts you.
the truth is I'm torn.
In Illinois, it wouldn't happen in Illinois because in Illinois we pay for the fucking abortions.
I'm just saying.
You know, yeah, I don't know. And like I said, the truth is I'm torn. I'm for real, like my body, my choice. I mean, the vaccine, I feel the same way. Like I feel like there is that. But I mean, you guys know I'm like super religious, so I kind of get this conflict and stuff, and
Yeah.
And I always settle on this. This is like kind of my thing. As long as I don't have to pay for it, like out of my taxes.
So for me, I mean, my point of view is much more like obvious, or like what everyone else has been screaming about over the past few weeks around, it's just like you said, my body, my choice. This is not something that a bunch of mostly men should be deciding for all women in the giant state of Texas. And I'm just
quick question. Why do you say mostly men?
Because I went through and saw who voted for it and who against it. And there was like
six I'm just curious. That's fine.
Oh yeah, it was like 6 chicks and 11 or 12. So I think 17 total people, and it was like 6 women who voted for it.
They voted for it?
Yes, mostly men. It was mostly men who voted for the law.
So quick question on that. I don't know the answers. I'd be curious to see if they ran on that and then to see who voted for them based on that. Because that might change it.
Mostly Republicans. I think it was one Democrat who voted for it.
No, but I'm saying if they campaign on it, and if you look at the breakdown on who voted for them, if they did get, because there's more women voters than male voters, if they did get, then maybe it's not. Yes, they might be a male pulling the lever for the vote of a woman. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I have no.
So the women who voted for the men, if they were in support of this law, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a lot of women.
I know.
Support this law.
So I guess
there's a lot of women who are pro-life, and I think there's a lot of women who are not, and I think there's a lot of women who are in between. Like I'm not for like full-term abortions. Yeah. I'm in the middle, right? I'm about logic, but also like choice. So
when can you define that then? Because I'm
not for full-term abortion.
So then up to what point?
I'd have to talk about it. I don't know.
Okay.
I'd have to see a law that made sense to me.
So
I feel like there's so many different. Wait, first of all, when you get pregnant, and 6 weeks is just not long enough to know if you're pregnant. To me, that's insane.
But you know why they said 6 weeks though?
Because they're men and they don't know how long it takes for you to.
No, it's the heartbeat bill. It's the heartbeat bill. So it's not arbitrary. It's not arbitrary. It's not arbitrary. It is.
That's specific. Not to me. That's not the issue. For me, it's like I said, for a lot of women at 6 weeks, you don't know you're pregnant unless you're actually trying to get pregnant. And so you find out, maybe for a lot of people, it's between 8 and 10 weeks. Oh shit, I'm pregnant. And now there's nothing you can do about it. It's terrifying. There's no choices. There's no options. Whether it was rape, whether it was on purpose, whether you're in a situation where you can't afford it, whatever it is, you have no options. To me, that's terrifying. For all the women in Texas right now, they have no options. And furthermore, if someone finds out, they can sue the place for up to 10 grand or something ridiculous. And it's just like, what? Now you have people policing the actions of me for something that, like, there's just so many situations that I could see someone wanting.
It's gonna take us back to dangerous times, because here's my thing. I'm very pro-choice, by the way. Your body, your choice. I'm a firm believer of it. I do have alternate arguments and standpoints where it's like, I'll mention it in a little bit, but people are gonna do it, whether it's legal or not. If they want it done, they're gonna do it. So then we get into this dangerous situation where, like, it was a time where women went with hangers and went to this little back alley, like how the girls get the butt shots, they're gonna go get an illegal abortion. And it's very dangerous. And it's very, it's so many things that can go wrong with this. And I just feel like if I don't understand why you're trying to make laws over somebody's person. When at the end of the day, if I don't want it, guess what? I'm not gonna have it with or without you,
Right.
whether it's legal or not.
Because there's
like prohibition
in regards to another living a life. That's the reason why it's
But
right.
it's not your.
For a man to say that.
How is that
for a man to say that?
Wait, it's not so. So you're talking about
easier for you to say it. You would never be in that situation, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, so you're talking about a guy with 6 kids. So okay, so
I'm not talking about you in a situation where you're controlling making a life like you personally. I'm talking about putting yourself in the shoes of someone, a woman who is in a situation where they did everything they were supposed to do and they ended up pregnant anyway. Birth control is only 90% effective, right? What if you're poor, orphaned, all these situations where you're like, crap, I did everything I was supposed to do. I took my birth control. He wore a condom. All this stuff happened and I still ended up pregnant. And I'm now in this position where now I have to keep the kid. Like I'm just saying, let's just say this was a nationwide thing. Now I have to keep this kid. And the same people who are against me getting the abortion because I couldn't take care of the kid, even though I did everything I was supposed to do, are now going to tell me I can't get any welfare or anything to help me take care of the kid. It's just such a ridiculous process. I agree with Shayla. It's a slippery slope. We should be able to make the decision on our own. I'm not saying that I agree with abortion being a type of birth control because I don't.
I don't either. And honestly, if you're using it that way, you're destroying your body.
Agreed. That's not what I believe. But they're not having the choice and having it forced on you is not okay. Because like Shayla said, people are going to do it anyway. And trying to make people police people, it's just going to make people who don't want to be that way leave Texas, which maybe Texas is okay with that. F it, all you random non-pro-life people just leave.
That was the ultimate. That's their ultimate goal. They got
too
many Californians fleeing to Texas.
Is their kids and their grandkids. That's all that's gonna be leaving.
But I just feel like people who tend to push the pro-life narrative are also pro-abstinence and it's just all of these things that lead to a bad situation.
So let me
and Shayla, you'd be surprised how many young people are pro-life.
Say that again.
You'd be surprised how many young people are pro-life too.
We do.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being pro-life, and I know there's large roots in religion. I'm not against life in any way, shape, or form. So for me being pro-choice, I'm not saying I'm not pro-life or don't understand the mentality between being pro-life.
Agree.
I'm just saying if a person doesn't want a child, you have them have the child. The child is here. Now what?
Right. So that's all. Question: What do we think? And I don't know this number. I'm just asking. What do you think the percentage of where you're talking about, where people they're doing, like you said, they're doing all the right stuff, but they end up pregnant anyway. What do you think the percentage of those people that are getting abortions, whether it's just women that are using it, that aren't doing, like you said, the right thing? I don't
know that we'll ever know that because when you go in to get an abortion, they're not typically asking or documenting why.
Yeah, again, I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just curious what you guys think because you keep saying
about having the choice.
But
you know what I mean?
But you keep saying it's a small. If I heard you right, you kept saying it's a small amount of people. Right? No. Okay.
No, I was just saying there are a number of people who could be in this situation. There's a lot of different situations. I have no idea what all the situations are that lead to an abortion. There's probably countless.
So do you think?
If you feel like you can't take care of the child and you're in a situation where you're like, this is an option. And there's a lot of people who feel like they can't take care of the child and will still take care of the child. They find a way, they figure it out, regardless of whether or not they have someone, the father with them to help raise the kid. I feel like there's just so many different stories. My issue is pigeonholing everyone to make the decision for them, where you're saying no matter what, including rape and incest, you have to.
That one surprised me. That one surprised me a little bit. So I guess my thing is one is, I have no idea what went into this bill, what kind of research they did. Maybe they did do some research on the amount, but I'd be curious to see where this goes and how it actually impacts people, right?
That's going to go to the Supreme Court for sure.
It's already went.
It is. I think so. Well, this going back, I think that they are, the Supreme Court didn't stop it from being put into law. So it is a law right now there. But now they said the Justice Department filed
but you talk about complete overreach. They don't have any standing there. Because they try to go at it from a different angle, and they don't have any standing. But I'm just curious. So let's say it all stays in 5 years. What impact does it actually have? Right? Does it have
people leaving Texas?
I don't think that's gonna. Some people, but like
just
I don't
go on vacation.
No.
There's so much money to be made in Texas right now. They don't care, and they have so many people moving to Texas from places like Illinois and California.
People are not going to move to Texas.
They don't want. They're fine with that. They don't need. So that's what I'm saying. So that's the people leaving Texas is relevant. I'm just curious on where that, and within 5 years, if everything stands, what impact did it actually have? Right?
I think it's going to stand for 5 years.
Okay, that's that you don't know what anything's going to.
I don't. I just don't think it's going to last. I don't think it's something that's going to last.
So let me going back to what hold on. Let me finish. Let me try to finish my point. If they go in 5 years and they say, okay, the abortions, okay, all of a sudden they just dried up. There's a small amount of abortions happen, right? But what you saw was an influx in women doing better. Both mentally, economically, financially. If women are doing better, does that not say that, okay, hey, maybe, right?
Child, no? I cannot.
I'm just curious.
There's history that proves that what you're saying is just not how it works.
The problem with the logic is that who, if anyone's going to leave Texas, who's going to leave Texas?
Democrats and
no, like not even Democrats. It's going to be people who have the ability to move. No, people who have people. It's hold on, hear me out. It's going to be people who have the ability financially, like your job.
Some companies are offering to pay to relocate their
right. Okay, so we're not talking. But when we talk about abortion, we always tend to focus on like poor communities because that's like the largest effect, right? They're the ones most impacted by it. Do those people have the ability to uproot their entire lives and move out of the state because of an abortion law? What are the chances that those people have that ability to do that?
I don't know.
They don't.
They don't. Across state and didn't have.
There's a reason why people live in smaller in every major city. There's a reason why people live. There's a reason why people are super like living like those conditions they live in these big cities because they don't have the ability to like move away from it. You know, so no one's gonna like. You were talking about people leaving Texas. Like, only people are gonna leave Texas. They're like the wealthy liberal elite over this, who are going to be largely unaffected by this law in the big scheme of things. But it is going to have an effect on poor women, particularly minority women. And that's where I
don't agree with that, because the number one population last time I checked was white women having abortion.
Having abortion.
Okay, what's the percentage relative to the population?
I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up. Now that I have to look up.
That's the real number.
The real number. You can. It's easy. Where does Planned Parenthood put all of their clinics?
We know. Come on.
That lets you know where they're all happening.
We're from the South Side. I'm from the South Side.
I don't think that it's all poor women. Sorry, I was on mute. But
I'm not saying that it's all. I'm not saying it's exclusively poor women. I'm saying that that's the community that's largely affected by this.
So can I go on like a little tangent? So
no, time ran up.
Half of all abortions that they've asked about are women who are on birth control.
What is that from?
Verywellhealth.com.
Who runs it?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Who owns it? Why? That's why I don't trust the LA Times or the Washington Post. Look who owns them.
If y'all just take out male birth control, we would be fine.
Oh yeah. What was that about?
Male birth control options. Go on WebMD. There are different birth control options for men to explore. And then maybe we won't have to be in anybody's abortion clinic.
Then if I'm on birth control and you're on birth control, we decrease.
And we on birth control.
Santino, would you take a male birth control?
I don't need to. Mary.
Okay. Well,
No, that was my question. Is would you? Not. I don't. You don't need to get into specifics. I'm just asking. Would you?
No. I wouldn't.
why? It's not like you can get pregnant.
I mean, there's other there's condoms.
Yeah. Well, those fail too.
They do.
Tell me about it.
They do.
Part of the problem.
I was about to say something, but we still don't want to ask.
Later.
I was about to say something so bad. I had to look at the red in the corner. I'm gonna catch you after we get off here.
Okay. So, any final thoughts on the Texas abortion law?
I can't wait
to bring up something
over.
random.
Can't wait till it's over.
I hope that
I wanted to go away yesterday.
I did too.
I said I'm on the side. I'm really on the sidelines on this.
Please
one.
and thank you,
I mean,
sincerely.
No, I'm for
I
it.
have my religious issues, but I don't know.
But thank you for talking about it though, right? Like I feel like, we feel how we feel, but talking about it is what helps us understand our different viewpoints, and that's fine. I'm okay that you're not okay with it. You're okay that I'm okay with it. So anywho. I'm
not okay that you're not okay with it.
What?
I'm not okay that you're okay with it. What?
Fine, but we talked about it. That's what's
Okay,
important.
that's good.
Okay, Russell Westbrook and his dress. His skirt.
Oh my God.
Russell Westbrook wore a skirt. And so, okay, I thought about this earlier because we were chatting about it a little bit. And I think I get how some people feel like it's weird and it's new and it's different. And I think the conclusion that I came for myself personally was, if there's an appetite for this, like if he's truly a straight male, and he's not the only straight male in a skirt these days, if he's truly a straight male and there's an appetite for this from some chick who is turned on by this dress wearing stuff, that's him and others, and who else is wearing a dress these days? ASAP something, and that kid from the UK. They're wearing skirts now. They're doing this thing. If this
Bad Bunny and all them wearing it too, with the nails and
with the nail. Okay, I didn't know about the nails, but if there's an appetite for this, and this is the new straight male, I don't think I really personally care. It's not how I grew up. It's not how I knew like a straight male man to dress. But I guess, I mean, I feel like I don't have to deal with it because I'm not looking for a partner anymore. And so I just feel like, do I care? Does it really impact me? No, I guess not. So I don't know. That's the conclusion I came to. I'm gonna love on my neighbor anyway, whether he's in a skirt or not.
I just don't want anyone looking at me funny when I rock my cowboy hat. Don't look at me funny. That's it.
I'm gonna wear my cowboy hat, and you wear your.
I do.
I
do.
You know what?
That thing looked awesome on me, by the way. It looked awesome on me.
You know, we all went to the same school. I got roots, like deep roots set in self-expression. You have the right to wear what you want to wear. You're not hurting nobody. If that's what you want to rock on, I have no problem with it. And I feel like men have been dressing in androgynous style long before this new era of doing it again. Am I personally attracted to it? No. Live your life, boo. Like, rock it with confidence. Walk, do your thing. Like, I don't have no problem with it.
So that's I would be curious, and maybe you could put a poll up on the site, Shantae. How many women do find that attractive? I'm like,
okay. You don't need a poll. Look at Prince.
No.
Prince pool. Like,
so no, there's a difference. No. There's a difference.
and then these feminine dressing.
There's a difference between a superstar with a lot of money doing that and some random person walking down the street doing it.
Listen, okay, what about old dude who did hair? That Jackie was, Miss Jackie was the one with the perm, and like this is not new. Women like feminine men, they do.
All right, so
there's actually a group of women who are attracted to gay men. Women, I mean, whatever floats your boat.
Whatever floats your boat, and I think
you have the right to do it. Live on.
Okay, so I have 2 points to this. One is, yes, of course you have the right to do it. But I also have the right to judge you and say you look stupid. Okay? You look
in your
dumb.
opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it's like
hold on, I had 2 points. And the other point was this continues to try to emasculate men. And the continued push for this is mind-blowing to me. Tell me, you guys are ladies, right? Well, not you, Santino, unless you're hiding something. So what would you rather have? A masculine man or a man in a dress or a skirt with nails? What would you rather have? A masculine man or a cross-dresser?
Again, because of how I was raised, it's just a different thing that I'm attracted to.
Is it because it's how you were raised, or is it because it's what you're attracted to?
I'm not attracted to feminine.
It's all how we're raised.
I'm attracted.
No, I disagree. I disagree with that. It's
completely social. Back in the day, we was naked, bro. Like these are just
no. I agree. I mean,
these are just clothes. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make.
I mean, how does I'm talking about like when you're talking about how does taste develop? I don't know. It's not like my parents sat me down like, okay, these are the list of features that are approved. And
some things are just in you. It's a combination of both nature and nurture. Some things are just in you, and
I'm not trolling. I'm honest question.
No, I'm responding to you. I'm saying it's a combination of both. Like me, I'm not attracted to feminine men, but I'm not attracted to toxic masculinity either. Like, excuse yourself. I like a good balance.
Right, and I feel like
how we were far one or far the other.
Yeah, how we were raised, or at least, from what I remember, like it was a masculine man wearing a certain thing. But these days, if Russell Westbrook can find a chick and marry her and be happy and they procreate and do all the things that normal people do, I don't really care what they're wearing necessarily.
I mean, she probably just upped her wardrobe a skirt or two. She probably like winning. I mean, if it worked for you, great. Am I attracted to it? No. Do I hate on it? No.
That's why I'm
curious. I see it. Yeah, I look, but I won't say. I'll be like,
that's why I'm really curious. Like what? I'm curious what percentage of women like are into that look. I wish someone did like a big poll of this. Like a scientific poll of this. I wish there's a way to do it.
Okay, so and this might not be politically correct, but probably the same girls who like a stud.
That's where I feel.
I was like, and it took a second to process. I'm sorry.
I do think that comes into play. Like whatever you're attracted to,
and don't forget, people are pansexual?
They're just weird, making all this weird shit.
Right, it's not made up, Peter. It
is made up. It is made up.
It's not made up.
You don't have to
that shit is made up.
Preferences with looks. Like you don't have to
necessarily. It's like
people for real struggle with these things beyond what.
They're not attracted. They're attracted to the person, not the gender.
Oh, is that what pansexual is? Attracted
I believe so.
Gender.
I gotta Google and see if I'm correct, but I believe that's what it is. You're
so open-minded.
No matter what they are, what they identify as, you love that or you're attracted to that person.
I feel
don't touch kids.
Just don't touch kids. It's not even. It goes beyond that to me.
But that's the new push. So
I'm like, are you just a good person? Like, if you're a good person, I don't care.
Then I don't care.
Golden rule.
There we go.
And don't
others. Everything else,
just be a good person and don't be a pedophile. Bam. Boom. Live your life.
That's it. That's
wear a skirt, have blue hair, wear makeup. If you got a boo, what am I say? If y'all both up there in dresses, what am I? It's none of my business.
And I have to agree with that. I really do.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't have to go home to that person. Someone else does, and you know what? There's a lot of lonely haters out there that can't get a date. And if this dude is getting a date while he's wearing a skirt, I mean, dude, you gotta step up your game. I don't know.
Except
how many of your favorite wrestlers had a skirt back in the day? Come on, man.
Exactly.
Come on, but the difference was that was a little more trolly back then. You know what I mean? Like they were taking a piss at it.
Yeah.
You know, like this is like serious like style. This is trying to be like serious fashion. You know,
there's a difference between a kilt and a
I'm not talking about a kilt. I'm not even literally talking about a skirt. I'm not talking about a kilt.
It's just one of those things that's not for me.
It's not for you.
Your favorite wrestler, Goldust.
But like I said, when I walk into a bar in Chicago with cowboy boots, a snap button shirt, and my cowboy hat,
you gonna fit right in.
I don't want anyone no one should look at me funny. No one should look at me funny.
Look, just go down Sister Row. It'll be your time to shine.
Especially this week.
Right.
Yeah. Viva Mexico.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining. I know we're over, and I did want to bring that up because that was interesting, and I figured we'd have different points of view. So thanks for.
He should have stayed in OKC.
He should have stayed.
It's been a mess ever since. You got to pass around all these teams. That's why he's wearing a dress now, so he can keep getting passed around.
It shouldn't impact their decision. I mean, if Michael Jordan came out right now wearing a skirt, I don't care. That does not change my opinion about him.
With a Jumpman symbol on there.
An excellent basketball player is an excellent basketball player. I don't give a.
He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. Look what happened to Bruce Jenner. How many of his fans was like, the fuck? Like, think about it.
That's what happens when you start fucking around with damn Kardashians.
All I'm saying is, we can't say, oh, it wouldn't happen. He had Macho Man fans. He was the ultimate man back in the day. On the
Olympian.
The Olympic,
Olympic hero.
He's an excellent athlete. Let's just leave it. She. Damn. All right, y'all. Respect to Caitlyn Jenner.
No, just real talk. Like I said, people, like all jokes aside, people struggle with this every day for real.
Exactly.
And like I said, like I know I have my feelings about it, but at the end of the day, like I said, somebody has to live with this. Somebody has to deal with these things, and we just got to be mindful of that.
And that's part of
that's not the skin that we're living in.
We fight for your right to express yourself however you want to. That's part of it.
Exactly. As long as you're not like doing anything crazy or breaking laws,
hurting anybody,
touching kids. I can't emphasize that enough, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's true.
I second that.
I agree with you on that.
I second that notion. But yeah.
All right. Well, I guess with that said. Let's wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining again. Check out our website. We have some merchandise on our ChitChatChill /shop. And then you can also check out the podcast version of this episode, which we have on our website as well at the same chitchatchill.com/podcast. So thank you all for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.